change your mind. I'm the first in line, honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know and I'll be around. If you got no place to go.
How are you doing today, Chance? I know you had a busy day.
Oh, it was really good. I mean, I always keep myself busy and in the flow state, getting really good though at not biting off more than I can chew and not stressing myself out about what I do or don't complete in the day. So the to-do list was all checked off. I got the exercise I needed. I did the work I wanted to do. I did my rituals. Always start with the things that are going to help you out the most, like your prayers and your meditation. For me, exercise is clutch, though. If I can do that before I get on a stream, I'm much clearer. So I did it all. Didn't skip legs day. Even got a shower in. I'm super ready.
You totally did it. I'd like to thank Claire in my chat. I'd also like to thank Eric138 from the Twitch chat. We are mostly chatting on ROKFIN. That's rockfin.com. Occult Priestess or Innerverse, INNERVERSE, for Chance's chat channel. So we've got two chats going on. And I just want to say hi to everybody. How about you?
Yeah. Hey, Kaylee in my chat. And I saw Juliana in there. Some great friends from our Telegram group. It's funny that they're both in here. I was just talking with both of them before we went on about the same thing, and they don't realize it, but they're both here. So it's funny how we're all kind of connected on the same wavelength. Also, hey, Claire in the ROKFIN chat and Eric. And I bet we'll see more trickle in as the night goes on.
Yeah, that's the stream life, you know, you just wait for everyone to pile in. That's why I like to do little intros tonight.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you for your help.
That
Thank you
countdown
very
video
much.
was great. And I got to confess to something. I was probably confusing the heck out of you because I thought I was hearing your video playing of the stream, but actually I had it open in two windows. So I was hearing it through my headphones and then telling you it's you, but it was really me that was confusing everything. So we're done with that now.
I'm not even
We're in the
sweating.
clear.
Like, it didn't even get to me. Things used to get to me a lot, like not even live. It's terrible. But my palms aren't even sweating. So thank you. You're very gentle.
I'm a little sweaty, but I always am. I feel like it helps me be more electrically conductive to have that layer of salt water on the external of my field. I don't know.
Electric youth. Yeah. So what were you thinking about getting into tonight, mister?
I don't know. You tell me.
We have the whole universe, but things that we have in common, you and I, are healing. Definitely have that in common. And we do it differently. So I thought that might be interesting to explore topic. There's always what's going on right now and where we're being herded into right now, which is the conspiracy that I love to talk about. And then we obviously are going to talk about you. Who is Chance Garton?
Well, there's a lot of definitions for the word chance in the dictionaries online. The Urban Dictionary definition is pretty sweet. It says that I'm super cool and attractive. But as a word, one of my favorite definitions is absence of concept. So I like to look at that as a Taoist idea of always being ready to change. Even the name chance and change have just one letter different. So ask me any day, you'll get a different answer. But I like to call myself a creator of all trades. I even had some artwork lined up to maybe screen share because I don't put that onto the videos very often, but
We
am
love
a
art.
visual artist. I got a lot of weird art. So that could be fun. And like you said, I'm into healing. Might be fun to talk about that, like how I got into it, how I was led into it by synchronicity and not in a particular teaching lineage, almost like the tools taught me more than any one person. So I'm down to go into whatever. Also, we both seem to be friendly with this Hermes guy. I've been getting a lot of psychic DMs from Hermes lately.
DMs.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Let's say hi to Jen Brewster. Hi, Jen. How you doing there in the chat? It's like I want her to say something back, like they didn't hear.
I hear her. She's like, "Oh, I love you." She's fangirling about you. I happen to know.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She totally
Thank
likes you.
That's really sweet. It's nice to be liked, isn't it, Chance?
It is fun. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was my original motivation for going on stage, was to fill some sort of like attention void that I didn't know I had. And now it actually fits more my mission on earth to have set up this whole skill set, and I'm good with it.
How old were you when you started, not the internet necessarily, but putting yourself on the internet in a recording device?
I think I was 26.
Tell us the story.
Well, okay, the age of 26, I'd been spending a few years going around just like as a music festival artist wook, so creating hat pins and selling those. Actually, I've got one right here.
Yeah,
I used
I'd
to
like
make
to see. Oh,
hat pins like this. This is one of the less fancy ones, but it's actually the first one I ever made. I
it
just
says
happen to have
ice
it on my desk.
cold.
The floozies, it's for a band. And so
That's
there's
really neat. How do you make that? What is that called?
it's an enamel pin, and I didn't
Hmm.
physically make it. I designed it and then got a manufacturer to do it for me. And I made a lot of those and I sold them. That's what broke me into art and hustling it. At the same time, was seeking to improve my skills with drawing and digital art. A lot of what I came up with early on, I hate now, of course, but it's a worthwhile practice, and it's amazing how fast you can get to a place where you like what you're doing if you're just consistent about it. My philosophy about art, since I've always had other things going on and I'm a big multi-interest guy, never been about just picking one thing and sticking only to it. And it seems to fit my astrology to be that way too. So I'm embracing it more and more. But if you just put like even 15 minutes a day or 5 days a week, 15 minutes a day into a container where your creative energy and one idea is channeled into that container, the accumulative effect is really amazing. You will have things that you never would have had if you didn't spend just that little bit of time. Actually, meditation was what taught me this,
Mhm.
that
Yes, exactly.
meditation isn't about what you get out of it that one time when you sit down to meditate. It's about the cumulative effect of more and more moments of stillness or inner journey or whatever techniques you might be using to meditate, sitting and breathing, more oxygen. All of that is a cumulative effect. But art is the same way. Anything that you can make a daily practice and keep at it will, even if it's just a little bit at a time, baby steps, eat the elephant, right? One bite at a time. You'll have things that you never would have imagined. So some of my art took me months or even a year to complete one picture because I was doing it in these little bite-sized chunks. But what's cool about that with creativity is if you are sticking to a daily practice of it, then your ability to generate ideas and to tap into the imagination and have inspiration will dramatically increase in all areas of life. Because even though, just like with meditation, having 20 minutes a day of meditation, right? Throughout the rest of the day, you're more likely to find yourself mindful, to stop and breathe, to stop and be present and not be in so much monkey chatter. Same goes for if you're creating every day, your mind will just be mentally in the unconscious, like processing what you want to make and throwing things up at you like, hey, you can make this, you could make this. But if you're not regularly in the maker mind, then those ideas aren't going to flow as easily and you'll feel like you're not creative. There's more I could say about creativity. I have probably a whole manifesto's worth, but
Manifesto.
creative chancefesto.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking of so many things while you're talking, but then you make a joke and it leaves my head. So I'm like, okay. But no, really, the creative space, right? So this is funny. I was with a client this week and we did regression therapy, actually, where we did a light hypnosis and then we took them into the upper realm to get into the higher aspects of their subconscious to find their inner child. And she's like, I'm making this up. And I'm like, okay, I understand that you believe that you're making this up, but dreams and art and meditation, they all work on the same bandwidth, right? The imagination. So when we're having a powerful vision, like an art piece, anything, having a powerful vision, I don't think we make any of it up. Chance, what do you think about that?
This was a topic on Vibrant last night, my other show besides Interverse, the live show. We were talking about that. Are we like a vessel for something to come through us and channel through us, or are we ourselves the craftsman that is doing it all? I think that it goes both ways. My answer is lately yes and or both instead of either or, because I think you can do art either way. You can just pick the first thing that comes to mind and make no revisions and just splash the paint on the canvas. I mean, you can do that carefully too. It doesn't have to be just like haphazard. But my point is making the thing without any direct intention to control it versus slowly, methodically, carefully measuring every little detail of it. There's two ways to go about it. And I think really good art kind of sits in the middle of that, where some of it is just coming through and you didn't expect it to turn out that way and you just go with it. But then other parts of it you intended and you crafted carefully and methodically. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's both. Either way, what is inspiring the methodical crafting part could be the same higher self type entity, or not entity, but like expanded soul self, or the soul. If you look at all soul as the same soul that is just radiating into a bunch of different vessels, could be. I mean, at the end of the day, you're asking the question of what animates us in the first place, because the whole life is an art project of sorts. Whenever I tell people the answer to like, well, why am I not creative? From my perspective, it's that you're indecisive, actually. Creativity can be as simple as just picking something and doing it, and then keep doing it and keep picking something. In terms of like, you look at a blank canvas and you don't know what to put on there, just do anything and see what comes out of it. And then the more that you do that process, the more that you're in the daily practice, the more you'll have direct ideas, thunderbolts of inspiration about something you actually want to put down on the canvas. But it won't happen at all if you're trapped in the mindset of, I'm not creative, I don't know what to do. With art, there's not really a wrong answer unless you're comparing. You're playing the comparison game of my stuff doesn't look like this other person's stuff. Really.
I think one of the issues is that want for control, and that coming from the other side of the brain, the analytical side of the brain that measures things. And then the creative side of the brain kind of gets beat up by the bully and does it get
The inner critic.
Get to flow the art from the realm of the muses is, you know, a good place to say it comes from. And then at that point, you're just a channel. And then how clear your channel is how clear the art can come through, right?
Yeah. And so in the same way that getting healthier in your body will help your mind work better, because that's just a fact. People that are closer to death or have worse health problems, their experience of thought and perception gets murkier and more grainy, if you will. Same goes for creativity. They lose
light. It's less light, right? They're losing light. They're diminishing. And that's why I would say that dishonest people and immoral people are crap artists. If you've seen jailhouse art from serial killers, H.R. Geiger, very similar.
Well, look at some of them, though. Like, what they're making is technically adept a lot of times, but it's just like horrifying or disgusting. So at that point, you're like, well, what are they channeling then? Is there something actually demonic coming through them in that?
Yes.
I actually have one time, I have a very specific memory of, okay, so maybe I'll try to back up a little bit. When I used to go to a lot of music festivals, that was my waking up to woo stuff, generally speaking. And one of the things I started to pick up on after going for a few years and being around a lot of people that were in their chakras blasted open state from whatever medicines they were on, or drugs, depending on what they were taking, that you would see attachments actually happen, demonic attachments happen in real time. Like, you'd be with your group, one of the people in the group would be kind of spiraling out a little bit, and the next thing you know, there's this really creepy fucker that has just come out of the woods and is like fixated on this one person in your group that's having a hard time. And they can't shake them, and they're just following him around, and they're like this dark cloud, as if the entity that's controlling that puppet, because they're probably super drunk or super wasted in some way, tripping, the dark wook from the woods, that actually seems like it's trying to jump over and attach into or energetically drain, vampirize your friend, who's just kind of a more normal person that's not used to what it's like to walk in the spirit realm at the same time that they're in the physical, which is what seems to be kind of going on in a heavy psychedelic experience, where you're seeing
It's Walking in Space on the Hair soundtrack. It's perfect.
yeah. So now that I've set all that up, one time I noticed this really creepy, dark character that was just always following us around all night, just right on the edge of our awareness, staying in the background, never quite coming up to us, but was definitely like following us everywhere we went. He was 30 paces away, and he had a briefcase of art. And eventually we stopped long enough that he came all the way up to us, and he's like, "Do you want to see my art?" And it was just the most creepy, terrifying, but technically well made, really disgusting. Like, I wasn't terrified by it, but it was creepy. And someone might be, like, really gross, cannibalistic, vampiric, demonic, gory, not beautiful. And this
Right. That's the problem. Where's the beauty?
yeah. And I'm somebody that follows the philosophy of aesthetics to a T. I think that whenever we perceive beauty, there's a reason, it's an innate sense, and it's actually totally cool to follow what's beautiful because it aligns with what's true. Because nature is beautiful automatically. It's just automatically. So anyway, I think this was a character that was using this art, or this maybe it was like an entity attachment that was influencing this art, so that whenever he would come up to people and show it to them and they would get uncomfortable, this was his way of juicing them. Because at the point where he goes, "Do you want to see my art?" That's like opening the door for the vampire if you say yes. And then the weird feelings that it generates in the victim of the energy vampirism. I think we've talked about psychic vampirism before in an Interverse episode a long time back.
We did in Saints and Vampires episode.
Yeah, that was Multiverse. It was like a sideshow I was doing for a little bit, but it ended up becoming Vibrant eventually. Way better is Vibrant. But yeah, so I think that sometimes art can be inspired by angelics, and sometimes it can be inspired by demonics. And
Which brings us to the demon versus the daemon. And for those who don't know, the daemon, Daemon, is also another name, the old name, the real name for the higher self or holy guardian angel. And as you grow and develop, you are going towards becoming a demon or a daemon, one or the other. And I can tell people easily by their art, but sometimes difficult art is because a person has been through a lot, and this is their only way of processing those feelings, right?
You read my mind. I was about to say, pull up this one. This is one of my digital arts from a couple of years back.
So, I'm just
Demon
want to make a
cat, Daemon
point.
cat.
There you go. Not all scary art is some of it's suffering, and it's not all evil. But go ahead. Yes, please tell me about your cosmic cats.
Well, that's just what this concept was, kind of. I was mostly like, I know that the cat on the left is kind of scary, but it's also funny. So I think that takes a little bit of the edge off of the scary. And
Well,
I called
cats
this
in
one,
general take the edge off.
yeah, exactly. I call this one Duality Cats. I got posters of it. I have posters of all my art.
I love
I guess
that.
if anyone wants to buy it. But this is digital art, phone wizardry. Since we're already on the screen share.
That's what I'm saying. Can I just leave this here and you can do the thing? Whatever.
Yeah,
you're
I'll show you
doing?
some more art if
Okay,
you guys
cool.
are cool with that. I've got some in this folder, just some randos. This is one that's marker art that I did. I believe I called this one Lost in Words. So I just get
I
real
love
busy.
those. I love the mazes and stuff. They're so much fun to do. You guys, this is a form of meditation. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, that's how I treat it as well. And
It so is. Wait, what is the I equal you? That is so neat.
Where is that even at?
Up in the top left. I read it like a tarot card. Like
It's an equation. What is that? See, that's the other
I
thing
am
about
you and you are me. Namaste.
yeah, it's something like that. And then I put the last word on his hand, which is on or no, depending on which direction you're reading it. You got to be able to say no.
And as above, so below. And right there, right on the throat chakra, you have a little Tao. And then you have the heart in a triangle. This is all like if my kid did this, I'd be so proud.
I actually have, since I thought we were going to share some art today, I've got that one, the original right here in the frame. So if you want to pull me back up, I'll show you kind of what it looks like in person. That's more fun, maybe. I'm
probably going to I wonder if I don't know how to pull you up. How do I pull you up? How do I make you big?
So if you take the screen share away and go back to it just being the two of us, and then you take yourself out momentarily, that'll make me big.
Remove?
Yeah, I'm removed from stream. So this is the actual size of it with the real color. It gets a little different whenever I scan it to make posters, but also you can see my reflective lighting source there. But yeah, this is what this one looks like in real life. So that's fun. I've got one I'm working on currently that's not finished yet that I'd like to show. So you can kind of see where I'm at right now. Well, trying to center it perfectly. It's tricky. Yeah, this one I'm working on right now. It's getting close to done. And maybe I can get a zoom in on some of the parts of it. Ooh, move my mic. So that's that, and I can screen share more. We can talk more about this, but it's hardcore marker doodles. That's my thing.
I think we're all impressed. And it's just the funny thing because we're in a conversation with other people and I am psychic, but I'm like listening for other people to say, wow, I really like that. And, to comment. But I would like to go to the chat really quick. And I would like to thank Matt, who tipped $5. Going live seems to be awesome, he says. Congrats, Occult Priestess. Thank you. Hi, Wolfgang. And Nathan says, sometimes in between sleep and awake, I hear different dimensions, sometimes scary, sometimes beautiful and ancestral. And Claire says, is that right? Is that next? Yes. Claire says, this is so fun and interesting to look back at your own art as a kid. I laughed my butt off reading a book of poetry I made in grade school.
I wrote some really angsty poetry as a teenager. That's for sure.
Oh, I love the audience. It's my favorite.
Also, I got Jim from Weaving Spiders Welcome on my side of the stream. So what's up, Jim?
Please read your chat. Go ahead and do that.
He said that he was referring to the cats. He said it's a kitty high on catnip. And
cosmic catnip.
Further up in the chat, Kaylee, when we were talking about healing for a bit, she mentioned that the healing sessions that I did with her, she did some sound healing with me remotely too. That the first session of the 3 we did was key in her realizing how powerful she was. And I was like, that's great. That's what I'm about, is just reconnecting the person to themselves. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not even the one healing them. I'm actually opening a communication in their energy field so that they can talk to themselves internally. Reconnect their inner web.
We could push them out of the way. Get your ego out of the room so we can do some work, please.
Yeah, just zone out. Like I don't have training in hypnosis, but that is something I think that I can do sometimes in the right situation. Like when I first got into messing around with energy healing was at these festivals, because I would not constantly, but frequently run into somebody that was in the hole. Like they did too many drugs and they were gone and they were just like a husk.
Wait. Can you describe the hole, please?
The hole is where they're either like having a really bad time or they've lost touch with the reality that they're in and they're caught in some sort of weird loop.
What does that usually look like?
It varies, but it could be like they're repeating something nonsensical or just generally not coherent to what's actually happening around them, and they seem to be in a different world altogether, but not in a good way.
Can you do an impression, please?
Oh, I don't know if I could do an impression, but you know that they would just be like, it has to be like this. You know, they're just like zoning out.
Kind of trancy, kind of not all
Trancy.
there.
Yeah. So what I would do
Okay.
is I'd have one of these. Selenite.
Yes, one of these.
Really want one of these on it, or two. Oh, it's like, okay, well, we'll pretend that it's me. And I would often just put these like right at the ear holes and do a motion like this to draw out what was the issue. And then I would like pull it out, and then I would flick it off to the side.
Right. Right.
And I
always use the white light trash can, dude.
delete, recycle bin. And I would look into their eyes. I'd make eye contact really deeply and stare into their eyes and make sure that they were looking back at me. And then in my mind, I would just be like, come back, come back. If I knew their name, I would say, you know, so-and-so, come back. And it doesn't take very long and they'll come back. It's kind
That's
of like
really
hypnosis.
powerful. It's really powerful because you are calling on their soul with your soul, the eyes, window, soul. You get right up to their soul and you bring them back. And that's a talent, kid.
Well, I think that the crystal has taught me this, actually. Oddly enough. Here's another digital one. I call this one the value of wisdom.
What goddess is that in the statue, please?
Not sure, because it's just a Google image search of cool statues. It's a collage
She does have
style.
she has a little Aquarius urn. But that's
Yeah.
when they're carrying bottles or little cups and stuff, it's usually representative of medicine, energetic medicine.
Right. And so you've got the water theme going on too, generally on the two sides, and the two gems in the corners, twin gems.
What's that mean to you?
Well, there's an astrological sign ruled by our homeboy Hermes that begins with Jim, and it's twins.
Gemini.
Twin gems. But you know, I didn't even know that whenever I made this art, but now that's what it is to me. That's the fun thing of looking at your old stuff, is you're like,
Oh, yes.
something was speaking through that.
Yes, because you can look back, even Claire with her poetry, because I believe that spirit guides help us write the poetry and do the art. And that's why looking back on it is like there's a whole diary in there.
So here's a weird one. This one's a little less colorfully cohesive, in my opinion. Like, I don't like it as much, but you know, it's still in my style. Got some cartoon characters in there.
Does it say chance 3 up in the right corner?
That's my signature. I usually do the signature in the bottom right, but I forgot, so I put it up there. It's a lightning bolt. That's how I sign my things, like a little zigzaggy lightning bolt.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, my reference.
I like to encode. I always like to put. I don't always, but I often will put the yin yangs in there. The I Ching cards. Like a lot of my art, I will throw I Ching coins, and that tells me which hexagram to embed in the image.
Wow, because the I Ching poetry is a little hard for me to jive with. So I think that's very interesting that you can understand it enough to put it in a picture.
Well, this one that I got was particularly fun for me because number 30 is the clinging in the I Ching, which is fire and fire.
Can I make you bigger?
Yeah, you can just take the screen share away again. Yeah, so 30 in the I Ching is fire, illumination, inspiration, passion. It's like literally double fire. So it's a lot like the point where you're dancing and you're so into the music that you're not controlling your body's movements anymore. And you feel like almost a marionette on strings, that the vibrations of the music are moving you as if they're a puppeteer. I really like this position in the I Ching, but I'm also very fiery in my elements in terms of my zodiac. So that makes sense.
Oh, whoops. It also spoke about virtue. And I think virtue is something that is run over with the truck often. Because if you want to have good art, you've got to be virtuous to hit those high notes, the high vibes of the muses to get the stuff. Like disco, I believe, was channeled at a very high vibration.
Here's one that maybe feels high vibrational. I don't know.
I love it right away. Okay. I saw John Lennon.
Yep, there's a face in those with those circles in the middle are like goggles in a way. You can
Mhm.
totally pull a face out of that design. This is sort of like ascending masters and falling angels.
Ooh, what a sexy concept. That's exactly what's happening on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's what this whole thing is about. Yeah.
That's amazing.
We're
What
all falling angels until we decide we've hit our personal rock bottom and decide we want to go up now.
in a
Falling you could
way,
also just call it fallen stars. Like
because yeah, we all are fallen stars. That goes back to a Greek myth. That's real. What is the in the very can we
I'll
go
go
back
back. Yeah,
one?
sure.
In the very apex at the very top, you've got that thing that looks like a sun. But how would you describe that in the
Oh
middle?
man. Well, I want people to be able to have their own interpretation to it, but if I was gonna put an interpretation on it, it's Polaris.
Tell me about Polaris.
Well, it's the North Star. It's a completely fixed point that everything rotates around.
So it's like in astrology, it's the top of the chart. It's your
If you look at,
midheaven.
or like if you consider the cosmic egg, like I have back here,
Let me make you big.
it'd be this part of the egg. It'd be possibly the aperture where the source energy comes into the eye or the egg or the realm, metaphysically, spiritually. If you ask me.
Oops. And it looks like there's a sword too in the egg behind you. Like there's the sword of truth coming down in.
Yeah, it kind of does look like that. This is some really awesome art from my friend Hakan. I could probably really quickly find a digital image of it so we could look at it more clearly. Cosmic egg is one of my favorite things to talk about. So if we get more into that, I won't be upset. Or I could scroll through a few more arts that I have in this folder, a couple more. I don't think a lot.
Let's see a couple more. Come on.
Okay.
Since I've had so many visions in my dreams in weird languages of other goddesses and gods in the Celtic and Norse, I like to see through a window, but feel like it's my real home, but stuck in this one. Oh, dude, I totally get you. I totally feel you. And say hi to Freya for me.
Yeah, I know about that experience too, I think, anyway. There are times when at a high vibrational state, I could really close my eyes and see divine beings dancing around or communicating. That's it's a perceptual bandwidth that most of us are not usually attuned to, myself included, but it is there. It's totally there. So you made me kind of big, but this picture's small, but we might want to do it the other way around. Yeah. Cool. You're really good, ROKFIN StreamYard producer core. This is awesome. I'm going to zoom in on this so we can look at corners of it. This one's big. This one took me over a year because the actual piece is like 36 inches wide, or maybe not 36. Definitely big though. There we go. Zoom out so you can see that corner with Finn the human with the love banner coming out of his head. And yeah, this is fun. Thanks for letting me show and tell some art because I've never really done this on a live show before. I really like this top right corner. Nobody's in control. That's the most terrifying thing to Mortys. Mortys want to believe somebody's in control of them. Yeah. So, Corey, you can come back. Yeah, there you go. And I can see if there's anything else in this folder. Yeah,
Art makes me quiet.
Yeah, here's another one. Call this one Asana. Now,
because she's doing an asana.
And stuff in the bottom left that we're cutting off is just symmetrical to what's in the bottom right. This is one of those where it's mostly symmetrical left to right, but not perfectly. Her head is tilted towards the left.
But you could cut the picture except for her and it
Yeah.
would mirror. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've pulled that trick before myself.
So I think maybe there's
But
more
not
in here.
that well. I haven't pulled it off that well. Not even close.
Oh,
Dude,
hey,
you could edit videos. If you can do this, you can edit videos.
I do. I can edit videos, actually.
Okay. So there's Isis, my goddess.
Yeah, that's right. Isis
Well, she
in
is
this
my
one.
goddess. I can recognize her.
Yeah.
What's she doing there? What's happening there?
What is she doing? I don't know. You tell me.
It's like she's guiding someone like, dude, there's the light. Go there.
Yeah. Hey, here's the portal.
She's pointing to it and she's smiling. Isis doesn't always smile. So that's really nice. Now, this could be because the wings might confuse me. Is that's a feather in her head? That could be Ma'at, the goddess of justice.
Oh, really? Could have been
Yes.
mislabeled. Because I think when I looked, I was looking for Isis whenever I created this. This
Well,
source material.
intentionally, that is Isis because that's who I saw. But Nephthys, one of the elites in Egypt, has a feather, and Isis actually means throne, and on her head is actually a little throne. So, and the feather of Ma'at, when you die, either an ego death or a physical death, and you're an Egyptian spirituality, you go to the halls of Amenti, and that goddess Ma'at will weigh your heart on a scale of Libra, with a feather. And if your heart is heavier than the feather, then you have to reincarnate.
So I heard that the feather was red. Is that accurate?
Well, I don't know. Because
I don't either.
Egyptian, like a lot of that is like rubbed off. But sometimes they find trace elements and then they can make the painting, they can paint on it. They can make it the way it was before. Yeah.
Well, we can pull the screen share down whenever you're ready. That's all I had in that folder. I do have more, but we don't have to only focus on my artwork. It's fun, though. I appreciate
Yes.
the chance to share.
Obviously. Jem Brewer says, you are the cutest, and I dig all your references. Woohoo.
Kabir said in my chat, don't know if I'd attribute the moon, but I had an existential glitch last night. May need a forking.
Oh, you fork him good.
I will. I could fork him in person. That's how good I could do it because he lives near me. We're real life friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely been a really helpful modality to learn about. I picked up that technique from reading books by Eileen Day McCusick, who wrote Tuning the Human Biofield and Electric Body, Electric Health. And she teaches actual courses on her method, but her book was so well written, I was able to just pick up the technique by reading her description of it. And it's been an awesome reference material because I wonder what you think about this. She has developed through her practice with the tuning forks an anatomy of the biofield or the aura and where different things hang out off to the left or right, different emotions, different types of traumas or ancestor relationships that are issues. And the description that she gives and the chart that she puts in her book, in my practice, before I ever started offering it to people as like a professional thing, I was practicing with people that I knew, and I found it to be totally accurate. The way the forks would react in different parts of the field and what I would intuit about that as I heard the difference or I felt the difference would be, and what I would say to them, I would basically describe to them the exact issue that her biofield anatomy would say was the issue based on where that dissonance was. And they would be like, you're telling me my life story right now. So what do you think? Do you think that these type of systems are malleable in that if you create a mental scaffolding to give yourself a language energetically about what's going on with someone, then that leads you to intuit it psychically? Or do you think that this is an objective reality that everyone's field is configured in a way like this? Because it's kind of fuzzy. There's a lot of like blurriness to it, and it's half for me, it's half basing things off of her chart and her anatomy that she describes, and half me just going with what pops into my head, the first thing that pops into my head.
Well, like when you're first starting to read the tarot, if you're doing it right, then you learn all of the traditional meanings and all the traditional symbols, and you go through the boringness of all of that first.
I thought that was fun.
Oh, well, I didn't. I was like, God, can I get through this? But the thing is as you were reading her work and working with others, you understood, you were just being reminded of what you already knew. And as you said, scaffolding, that is to set up a structure that others can follow so that you can teach more easily. Anything that you're going to concentrate on like that in a spiritual sense, your spirit guides are going to be there with you, helping you and guiding you towards books and things they think they can work with you.
I don't do
So-
a session without inviting them in to help every time. I totally give the whole process up to spirit team and higher self of me and the other person. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm doing something right.
Well, yeah, you can give that up because
To
you're
a
only
degree.
the vessel. You get
Yeah.
out of the way as much as possible.
That's what I mean.
Because you're there for that's the thing. You are there not for the money or the whatever else it might get you. You're there for the other person. And that's the number one thing. And when you care and they know you care, then they're going to use you as a vessel to help. And so I say every book you read and everything is all set up already for your highest good, for you to learn. And it is never one size fits all. Every time, I don't care if I'm doing 5-card readings for 300 people in a night, which has happened. Every single thing is different. Every little experience I have is completely different. I have like a regression therapy that I go through, like a little step-by-step to take the person into their subconscious or above it. But that was taught to me too by them, by doing it to me. So it's always like, I always use myself as the experiment and then experimented on others. And to call it an experiment is because it is different every single time. I really want to get that through to people. You will never have a fully fleshed out spiritual system that goes from A to Z because you're unique and you have to work with your spirit guides, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And really, Eileen's books just got me started using those forks as a tool.
And reminded
speaking-
you of what you already knew.
And speaking with her, she's made it clear that the forks aren't even necessary. She's been doing it with her. She's been doing it with her voice.
Okay, as long as there's a vibration there.
Yeah. There's more than one way to do it, and she's unlocking new levels of it for herself because I'm sure she's guided. She's a really shiny, wonderful, vibrant human being, and seems to be aging backwards. So that's always a good sign when someone looks 10 years younger 5 years later. But the fact is, the more I do it, the more I discover different situations that haven't been described in her book and have an intuitive idea about, well, what would I do about that? And so starting from her scaffolding, I've developed my own way of solving various problems that I've become familiar with as common patterns in people's aura.
Yeah. And my scaffolding with the tarot was to learn all the traditional ways.
Yeah, like with art, you gotta. Well, they say with art, you should learn the rules before you start to bend them or break them.
I agree. That's the same thing. It's just you have to get into the traditional way. Humans do it and then figure out your way with your guides that you do it. And that's another thing about it makes us neat to ourselves. It makes us recognize to ourselves how unique and different we are from others. And if you have good self-esteem, then that's very helpful.
Oh, yeah. Self-esteem is very important. You actually alluded to people like leaking their light or losing their light. And self-esteem is definitely tied into that. The more that you can self-contain as a intact vessel, the light of spirit or your soul or whatever word you want to put on that, the more natural self-esteem you'll have. That's not I'm better or superior as much as you recognize the light in all because you feel it and see it through yourself. And it becomes possible to not only feel really good about yourself and who you are, but that you want to share that feeling with other people rather than lord it over them.
Of course. And also, we got to understand, as most of us are born codependents and we have to get out of it, is that other people in general aren't necessarily they're going to teach you lessons, but there's not a lot of help on your spiritual path. Your spirit guides are more intelligent than your neighbors or your parents. You know what I mean? Or most people in the community. So
a lot of people in my generation are here to like teach their parents shit more than learn from their parents after a certain point.
Yeah. And I find that being psychic, you'll pick up on friends and family throughout the day, just what they're thinking. And usually it's negative. That's what I'm trying to get at, is the negative thought in the head that makes the art go away, disappear, because you've got so many other things in your head. And what I'm trying to say is try to make your life simple, because when you have fewer people in your life, you have fewer voices in your head, and you can hear the divine so much easier. And most people in our lives are trifling. They're trifling hoes. And so we need to get over
I had
that.
to kick somebody out of my Telegram group like that today.
Do you want to share?
I mean, if they hear this, they'll know I'm talking about them. But you know what? Then maybe this will be their explanation, because I didn't give them one. But there was an individual that joined my Telegram group a couple months ago. And from the beginning, I just had this strong aversion to everything that they ever put in the group.
Wow,
And
that's
a lot
intense.
of it, yeah. And it was like, you know, I just wanted to kick them out, even though they weren't doing anything hostile. It was more like, it felt like they were really lacking an understanding of boundaries, overly feminized in a way. But it was a guy. And
Too much
one of-
soy. Damn soy boys.
I guess, well,
Teasing.
like-
I'm teasing.
he would put like several minutes of voice messages into the group chat that I just never felt interested in listening to. So I don't know what they said. And that was probably because our first interaction was that he sent me a direct message that was like, hey, do you have a few minutes to play? And I was like, I gave one response, and I was like, I don't know, something generally kind and uplifting, I'm sure. I try to be cool. But then what I got back was like 12 or 15 minutes of voice messages that I never listened to. And anyway, I just always felt this aversion. I noticed that the group...
I understand aversion on site and on vibe. I get it.
On vibe, yeah. And so I noticed that the group would tend to not respond to this person much. Like they would put all this out there and it would just go unreplied to. It was just like weird gaps of dissonance in an otherwise free-flowing group conversation. And then this always happens when there's somebody like this lurking in the group or some kind of strange entity trying to juice the group through their NPC vessel.
Meat puppet.
Yeah. That I got messages that they were being creepy to women in direct messages from the group. And I was like, at that point, that's whenever I just kick somebody without really asking a lot of questions, because nobody else in the huge group generates direct people to direct message me about them being creepy. You know, like everybody else is coexisting nicely. There's no friction or drama. So as soon as there's like, hey, this is drama, I'm just like, okay, bye. You know, I don't need any particular one person in the group. And, you know, they're not really valuable contributors to the conversation. And it's just like a lot of, hey, look at me as much as possible, but there's no substance there. I don't feel bad about removing that.
Well, you just described how I feel about most people on YouTube in general. Look at me. There's no substance here.
Yeah. The reason why we ask for compensation for the healing arts that we've spent our life developing, that some people would say, oh, healing or spiritual help, that should be free. You shouldn't have money attached to it. But really...
Oh, I love that one.
Oh, right. But I've noticed that the more of an investment that I make the procedure for the other person that is coming to me willingly for it and makes the decision to make the investment, the more powerful it is, because there's more energy behind it, because that's what currency is current. It's energy. So if we're both...
Okay, Jordan Maxwell.
But really, and if we're both invested in it, then it's going to have a more powerful effect. It just is what it is. Now, that being said, in the right moment or with like a person where there's already an investment of deep interpersonal connection and love, like that, you know them in real life and all that. Yeah, you might want to just be like, hey, let me help you and I'll do a little ceremony with you. And that's great. And no money gets exchanged. But when it comes to being a public figure or whatever, it just really helps to have that barrier of a
It is
cost,
a barrier. It really is a barrier.
because they
And
have
I
to
wouldn't,
want it. Then they actually want to get help. They want to help themselves, and that's why they're buying it, as opposed to you just giving away all your light for free and letting vampires eat it.
it is true that my clients become my friends because it's just the kind of girl I am.
Oh, me
But
too.
that
Except I'm not a
there is a
girl.
barrier that someone wants help from me, and I'm like, we'll set up an appointment and then we'll have emails, then we can talk. But you have to open the door, cross my palm with silver. You have to open the door or I cannot come in.
Yeah, I agree. It makes it a much more consensual operation.
And it protects
Definitely.
me from the weirdos. It really does. Not many people are going to pay just to make me feel bad. Some will, but not many.
And
So
the
let's
reason we're
go.
talking
Oh,
about this is for people that are out there right now that have something to offer along these lines, that it's totally safe to value your art. And if your art is a healing art, it's safe to value that. It's actually, it's good to do that. It makes it more valuable for the person receiving it too. And not in a very interesting way. If you like undercharge for what you're doing, that can almost compromise you more than doing it for free. Sometimes it's weird. This is good conversation.
so Claire says, like a moth to a flame, as you were describing, a moth flew into my lamp next to me. Crazy sausages, synchronicity. And
Jim
then
saw a really cool Mothman miniature, little mini Mothman. He shared a video of it in the Weaving Spiders Telegram last night.
we're going to get to Telegram in a second. And Nathan Nichols says, being in between Sam Samhain and the winter solstice, which is the dark, cold, and dead season, isn't just as important as the spring and summer solstice, making our wheel of life and seasons equally important, light and dark in nature, as well as inner self, ? Well, the darkness in the inner self must be lit by the light of gnosis or experiential understanding, or be lit that flame. Wait, no, the head lit a flame with the knowledge of God's true existence. And that's a real awakening too. That's a thunderbolt. So I do embrace all the seasons, dark and light, but within me, I create spring, day, and night. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Telegram, because I don't know anything about it, and some of my audience doesn't either. So tell us, because you told me it changed your life.
No, it really did, because
I know.
it seriously did. Kaylee,
Wow, nice.
and she says moths are a sync for her. Third time today it's coming up. It's cool. This is fake copper cup. The outside of it looks like it's copper, but I think it's like painted on, and it's really stainless on the inside. And in there,
I drink out of stainless steel a lot.
stainless is cool. It has good properties too. This is cacao, organic raw cacao and oat milk.
Cacao. I was like,
Cacao.
cacao. Yes. Where did we get that from? Cacao.
It's good. It's good medicine.
I
Really
don't know who said
heart-opening.
that first.
I
enjoy
love
it.
to cacao before a conversation, because it's a earthy, heart chakra opening, grounding beverage, but is also energizing.
I bet it's good with shrooms too.
Oh, absolutely. If you're
That's
into
the
that
next
sort of
way. I want to try that. Hot chocolate cacao shrooms.
thing. Shrooms, man. I don't think I've had any since 2019, and it's like less than a gram, and I am
They're still working.
yeah, there's last one that I ate are still in here. Telegram, though. Okay, so why it changed my life was that I've been doing this since I was 26, and I'm 32 now. And I was really struggling to feel any sense of community around the show, because all the places on the internet where it lived were like Fedbook and Zuckergram, stuff like that. And that's where I was putting a lot of my attention and energy. And even with a Fedbook group, like you can make.
He means Facebook, y'all. Okay.
Yeah, right. Meta.
We might have older people in the audience.
Sorry, I like to give nicknames
names.
to retarded stuff. So
Yes.
anyway, the Facebook group doesn't do anything to help you out. And over time, it just got even more of a trap, like a time trap, waste of time.
Mhm.
Early on, those groups could be useful, but they just got more and more censored. And the way that notifications worked got more and more, I don't know, corporate. We'll just leave it
They
at
just
that.
made changes this week again, too.
Yeah, get out of those places.
Well,
They're really
except
not
for
useful.
God is Your DJ. God is Your DJ is the best Facebook group ever.
Well-
But it's a group, not a page.
Let's get a God is Your DJ Telegram group.
All right. Well, you're telling your story. You spit your truth to me, baby. I'll get wet with it.
So I don't know how this happened, but as soon as I made a group on there, and I'll talk about more of like the functionality of it in a second. As soon as I made a group on there, there was just this lightning rod situation where a bunch of awesome people jumped into it right away. And some of them are in this live stream chatting right now. And we became friends and we started sharing real, authentic community conversations. It's like Telegram is like, hey, here's my internet window. Do you want me to pull it up? There's some private stuff in there. I don't want to show you my
Yeah, I
Telegram.
wanted you to pull it up if you can.
Okay, hold on. Don't screen share me yet. Okay. So in the group on my Telegram, it's just like a never ending. You can pull it up now. It's like a never ending live stream chat, but where you can share links and stuff. So it just looks like this. This is the group. We talk in here and everyone is communicating at the same time, and it just keeps going indefinitely instead of ending when the show is over. So that's really as simple as it is. Here's a meme I put in there. By now we should all be out of bubblegum. The functionality is simple and effective, and it's all based on the communication, and there's no profiles, or I guess you have a profile picture, but it's all super cool. So we can take this down now. I'll even just remove it. I don't think I have much more. Okay. Yeah, so there's no other part of it other than the communication. There's not a profile to manage or set up. There's just people talking to each other. If you want to have a one-on-one, you can direct message someone in the same interface.
This reminds me of Discord.
It's like Discord, but
Dick Sword? Is that what you called it?
yes, it is. It's an anagram.
Whose Dick Sword is it?
I think it's the big tech oligarchs' fake wiener.
We
that
need
they-
Lancelot.
So yeah, Discord does have the ability to have like sub channels that are
Which are confusing and crazy, and I don't like it.
Exactly. Telegram is just your group is your group, and if you want to have a sub channel that's on a topic, you can just make a new group chat with the people that you want to talk to about that.
Well, it looks like one long Facebook page.
It's kind of like it's literally just one long running chat, but with links and images that can be embedded in it. It's very simple, and that's part of the beauty of it. And one thing that I use it for that's really helpful is if there's somebody or a couple people that I'm on a research topic with, we'll make a subgroup about just that topic. So all of the chatting that goes in there is directed only at that topic. And then you have like a thread, a research thread organized by the media that's linked there, images and videos and things like that.
So it's like you're doing your homework together. right?
You can share your homework together, and
Yes.
it's really helpful.
And then you can do a group, not there, but then you can have your homework there, do your work, and then you can come on to a live stream with 4 or 5 people that you've been working with. Then you can all talk about your research. Wouldn't that be worthy? Wouldn't that be smart?
Doing it tomorrow.
I love it. Well,
Tomorrow I've got a live show surprise outside of my normal format of like it's a bonus episode basically. All that
yeah.
cosmetics and the persona, the mask, the fake self, the corporate personhood, all of this connects. It's one big occult ritual spell.
Well, let's
connecting
get
to
back
moment
into
of
the
birth.
art aspect, because everyone, I think the inner child loves to dress up and pretend and play. And this is the inversion of that, is what you're
Exactly.
talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I'm always going to dress up. Halloween is every day, mister. And it's not about me not being me, because when I'm not on air, I'm no makeup, no, and I don't even do my nails. Give me a break. So we did have one question in the chat real quick, and it's from, I might mispronounce this, Kearu. Do you know anything about zodiac or being clairsentient? Sorry, just curious. Yeah, I'm clairsentient, and clairsentient means you have sight, touch, taste. All 5 senses are psychic. But once you develop the psychic sense of, let's say, touch, and you can touch a piece of metal usually and read vibrations off of it, that's psychometry, and that's the sense of psychic touch. And then if you can hear your spirit guides in your head, you very, very rarely, if ever, hear them outside of your head. That is also an aspect of clairsentient. So there, I think I answered the question. Let's move on.
Well, we can talk about the zodiac aspect of that too, but I do want to back up slightly. I'm not going to talk about any more placenta stuff, but that live stream is not just Gabe, Slip Dissident. Also, I'm going to have Cheney from the Project Cheney podcast.
Oh yeah, with the blonde hair. She's a girl, right? Cheney?
Yeah, she's got some really original thoughts about things. And so part of what she'll be bringing to the table, and I hope to just sort of like play producer, maybe source some images to back up their back and forth. But we're also going to discuss how this is connected to the mystery of the Holy Grail, Mary Magdalene, John the Baptist, all that fun Templar rabbit hole, and even the cosmic egg, getting back to that, the scaled egg. I don't know how much of it we'll be able to cover, but I just felt like striking while the iron was hot in terms of this full moon, this Scorpio energy, and getting to the deep heart of the occulted truth about life. So we got Cheney in the house on this one too, and I'm really stoked because she's never been on one of my shows before. We've collaborated once on a Weaving Spiders Welcome last weekend.
I was there with her too last week.
That was, oh, you were?
Yeah, that's where I met her. Saturday, and I was on Thursday or something silly like that. But that's Weaving Spiders Welcome YouTube channel.
My people know about it. We're really intertwined, me and the spiders. I totally cherish that connection. I even have this tattoo that I didn't know would be so relevant later in life.
Dun, dun, dun.
So,
and just so everyone knows, Weaving Spiders Welcome, if that sounds familiar, it is part of the slogan of Bohemian Grove, the elites and their dancing in the woods. We wish they were dancing. You know, they're not dancing. They're doing other naughty things. So I did ask them about the name of their show. They're like, we just thought it sounded cool. I was like, all right, cool.
That's not true. They know.
That's what I was told.
Well, maybe one of them told you that, but.
So do you know the story?
I mean, I don't know exactly why they chose that name, other than to me, it fits in that idea of weaving spiders come not here, that's on the door or the gateway into the Bohemian Grove.
Well, I always thought it was like networking, honestly. And they're definitely networkers. And they're like, come and weave your spider's webs with us.
Well, it's a multiple meaning thing. And the whole show is mad synchronistic. We come together with different perspectives and ideas coming into the show. We just talk about random things. And then by the end, everything connected to everything. And so it's
a full circle show. Yes.
Yeah. You said networking. I'm replacing that word with fun webbing.
You know, everyone's trying to replace that word because apparently networking is like a bad word now.
Well, maybe we should talk about the net, the ether net.
Well, I have an original thought from 2004 when I was working with Carl Jung, or the ghost of Carl Jung, and he was looking at the internet. He's like, holy crap, it's the collective unconscious here in a box. How is this working? And so I have a higher perspective of all of this already.
Cool. I just like the idea of the web and the weaving of it, in the sense that cybernetics, which is what transhumanism is all based on, is feedback loops, artificial loops, circular logic, all coming back to
It's
that
monkey
feeling.
mind.
All coming back to that feeling that you got when you're a kid, and you asked your parents why, and they said, because I said so.
Then that's authority.
That's it. That's it. So whenever we integrate and we experience wholeness, and our field becomes more communicative with itself, the blockages and compartmentalization are eradicated so stagnant energy can flow. What we're doing is we're having all parts of ourself connect to all parts of ourself. And that's more like a web as a metaphor than a loop or a CPU.
That makes sense. The funny thing is my first email address, which I still have, is web mistress banshee. So I was a mistress of the web from like 1999. Maybe is when I made that up. That's crazy.
Did that account get banned?
No, I
asked
haven't.
to Banshee?
Nope. Banshee was my like tarot lady name because I was forewarning and I was mourning for people. You know, the Banshee forewarns death. I was forewarning change. And that was my pagan name for several years. That's what people called me. I even made my mother call me it in public.
Wow.
I was serious, man. If you're going to be somebody, be somebody.
My special alternate name was Chance Being Thunder.
Ooh, that's hot.
But then Facebook made me use my real name. So I quit telling people that was my persona name or whatever, my internet name. I just use my real name.
Well, you
Whatever.
could go back. Always.
Well, there's a callback to it because you see how I write my name here with the little lightning zap emoji. So there it is. Still kind of around for me personally.
I think it's neat. Okay, we've got one. Nathan Nichols says, what is Bohemian Grove? I heard it's druidic, but I've learned of druid is an evil. So what is Moloch? Thank you, Alex Jones.
Here, I just drew it.
And what are they praying and
Hot hands.
What are they praying to and summoning? And what's the history in a nutshell? Well, okay, we got the devil card. There's your Moloch. So I don't study traditions that I didn't have a past life in, and that would include the Moloch people and the Sumerians and all those people. The first time I heard about Moloch was from Alex Jones. And of course, he's the one who breached Bohemian Grove and actually has footage of being inside Bohemian Grove. But I ask you to go to my friend, Jason Bermas, and I'm going to put this in the chat. Jason Bermas, and then look up Bohemian Grove. And he has many videos on it, and he can give you a breakdown even better than I could because I'm like really into spirituality and I know my conspiracy, which is what we would call the Bohemian Grove aspect, but I'm not as good as Jason Bermas. So I bow my crown to him for you on that subject.
I actually have a friend in our Interverse Telegram chat who told me a story that his little brother worked at Bohemian Grove as a server and was just constantly getting passed on, like hit on by like Colin Powell and weird guys like that.
Yeah, dude. So is it druidic? I'm sorry, that was a big deal. So I have seen pictures of them in white robes with white cone heads, which originally is druid, but when we look at it today, we think KKK, which is more than likely what they're doing.
It's probably inverted druidism.
Always.
If anything. Yeah.
Well, not even druidism. It's just their own form of dress up LARPing. They're LARPing to the devil. There you go.
That's what it all is. Everything that the artificial fake matrix sorcerers are about. It's all a LARP and getting people to join an augmented reality game and become LARPers themselves.
And give up their power to a smaller structure that wants to control them. And
the whole cooties thing is a LARP. We've been shown it in massive scale.
He means COVID.
Call in a group on Telegram called Vibrant Call-ins, and people can leave a voice message there that I can play on the show, a pre-recorded voice message. They can put memes in that chat and I can put them on screen. They can actually, I'll put the link to StreamYard in there and someone can just join us like a live caller. So Kiyoru she said, "Do you know anything about zodiacs or being clairsentience? And can you tell what person is like from their sun, moon, and rising?" Those are good questions. I think that there is that those three configs are very helpful to get a general sense of somebody in terms of their personality, their character, but there's going to be more to it, of course. It's deeper than that. But for me, Aries sun, Leo rising, that's why I got the hair. That's why people see me as a main character, Maneemain. Libra moon, so emotionally I stay pretty like balanced. And those three things, you can definitely know a lot about a person. And in terms of psychic abilities, the elements are a really good way to gauge the way someone's psychic abilities work. But there's going to be a heavy influence with the outer planets there, especially Neptune.
Anyway, Claire Mathis sent me $2. I would thank you, Claire. That's very, very sweet of you. Very kind. Thank you for all of your support.
White House sent me $5. Wow, thank you.
Oh, right. See, that's so good. It's so nice because I was on YouTube for 10 years and I didn't make one thin dime.
So, okay, I have an idea.
Yes. Were there no questions for the tarot? That sounds ridiculous.
Naika says, "Chance, I love your channel and you are a beautiful healing bridge for humanity." Thank you.
That is great.
Thank you. You know what? She told me on Telegram in a direct message to check out Flattoberfest, and just going there and on that journey to South Carolina was a massive, massive lifelong memory adventure. So much love in that trip. Like, I could not be more appreciative for that nudge to go do that. She made a big difference. And then I got to meet her there and I got to hug her and everything. So I know her in real life.
Did you meet Freeman Fly at that event?
No, I saw his name tag on the desk where the entry was, but he didn't come. I don't think.
Yeah,
didn't
he
see him
was
there.
there eventually.
Really?
Yeah,
Eventually? I
man.
never saw
Because
him.
he interviewed the people from Flattoberfest because I don't
Shit.
believe in flat Earth. I think it's a bunch of shit. But the people were really nice and really cool. So I was like, all right, I'll listen to this. So I listened, and they were cool. But that's Freeman Fly. If I ever get a chance to plug him, I do.
I love Freeman. I know him now too.
FreemanTV.com, and he is the OG of conspiracy. He's been right about conspiracy, I would say, just as long as Alex Jones, but he's more fringe, which means he's not owned by anybody. So if you'd like your Alex Jones with a little bit more intelligence, go to Freeman Fly.
See, I think here's Freeman.
That's right.
I think Alex
And
Jones
hi, Lenny.
is controlled
Hi,
up.
Lenny.
I'll just say that.
Really?
think-
You think he's controlled opposition?
I think that he is Bill Hicks. I really do.
Oh my God. I don't think that. I mean,
I also
way
am
too
earth shape
different.
agnostic. I go all the way.
Unless I can see it. But in all the old Hermetic texts from thousands of years ago, the earth is round.
Well, there could be multiple elements at play here. Could be two ways of looking at the same thing. It is. But
Do
I know
you
that,
believe in climate change, Chance?
God, no.
Okay, at least we've got that.
God, no. But yeah,
Climate
that's
change is a way to control your life.
yeah.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of nasty ramifications of the poisonous worldview of a speck of dust floating through an infinite void. That's what the world is. But
Boy,
hey,
it sounds like nihilism.
it does, and that's NASA is nihilism, big time.
NASA, Nazi, Project Paperclip. Yes.
What the vibration is going to be in your unconscious by taking it to task, doing the thing that you need to do.
I don't have an unconscious anymore. That's what happens when you graduate. You break that shit. So all self-brainwashing doesn't work on me anymore. It really has to be discipline.
See, I have unconscious in the sense that there's always deeper aspects to myself to continue to discover and draw out, and more of the journey and its infinite stairs.
I totally get that, but you will, I hope, I pray for you. You will get to that breaking point where you are let into the infinite permanently, and you no longer have a subconscious, you no longer have these thoughts. It's been so long since I've had one. I need to refresh myself with reading my journals and stuff to remember how I used to be. And it's very difficult when you become different. Then you don't have the reference you used to be able to relate to people. You understand? It's very hard for me to relate. But you will break through the subconscious, and that brings you to where when you're thinking and you're thinking about yourself, you're automatically taken up. And it's like, well, there's nothing to think there. It's like literally nothing to think about. So you go up and you have visions instead.
I like that. I've definitely felt that breakthrough in meditation before.
Very good. Very good. And that's a permanent state that eventually, hopefully, will come upon all of us. Because
cool.
the way that we are brainwashed is because we have a subconscious. If we break through that, then they can't hurt us anymore. Not that way anyway. Physically, but not non-physically, not metaphysically.
So I'm going to pop a I Ching card, and that will round it out for the whole group.
Thank you.
This will be for everybody. Dispersion was for everybody, and that's where we started, and where it's going. Let's see where it's going. And
I want to show off my shirt.
I'll look at the changing lines. What does it say?
It says not a cult, which I have to pull my whole shirt up to see that. But I just wanted to show the eyeball.
Whoa.
What was that? What was it?
Okay, so it's two. It's approach and gathering together. And here's the trippy thing. It's the joyous over yin or earth, and then it's earth over the joyous. So it's lake and yin. It's both sides
As
of the
above,
polarity.
so below.
These both popped out together. This is definitely showing some balance. The reason, okay, so let's talk about what these mean energetically or elementally. Approach, we'll start with approach because that feels right. This is the earth or yin, the physical body, the physical world, being supported by multiple possibilities. That's the joyous or lake. That's the expression of life force energy that takes on myriad infinite forms. So the imagery here is showing a gateway, a doorway to spring, which is when all these new things are popping out and blooming from the earth. So this is saying that when we support our bodies by giving ourselves more freedom of possibility, by not being stuck in maybe routines that we've been in, or thinking things have to be one way for us to be healthy, happy, or whole, and allowing the flow and what time of year it is to take us into the new, just intrinsically, then we get to...
I just want to call it a threshold.
It's a threshold. Yes, this is a big threshold card. It definitely is a card of prosperous conditions, lightening up, which is what dispersion is about lightening up. So dispersion leads you to here, 19, approach, an alchemical marriage of sorts. And after the alchemical marriage,
you're talking alchemy. I have to kiss you up the arm.
then you get gathering together, which is where now the multiple possibilities are supported by the yin or the receptive instead of the other way around. They've reversed, and this represents your stream and the pathway that you've been carving through the collective consciousness, what your water has been doing, moving across the ground and finding that gravity and where it's flowing to is joining together with other streams. This is Corinne getting on Telegram, converging with a tribe there and finding a way to stay connected, join forces. The sum is greater than the parts. So basically saying that if you keep practicing dispersion, which is diffusing negativity or blockage, as soon as you notice it, then the eventuality that it will lead to is that you'll be more connected internally to all parts of yourself, talking to all parts of yourself. And that's your inner world. And the outer world will mean the isolation that has been going on for the last 2 years. We're approaching the end of that. We really are. And especially when we get to the vernal equinox, it's Guild Wars time. I think that we're going
to start fighting back finally. Is that what you're saying?
It doesn't have to be fighting.
Well, you said Guild Wars, dude.
Well, that's a video game reference, but I just not making decisions for themselves. And your ability to influence the collective consciousness and who wants to come join your guild will be a direct reflection of how much wholeness it's bringing into the world and how much of the divine spark of creativity is coming through you and your group. So to the degree at which that you find wholeness within, that's the type of guild that you're going to be in as we move into a new sky clock energy through 2022 to 2024 that is really all about getting off the screen and getting together with people in real life and seeing what we can build. Like, I'm talking like you and your friends or you
Intentional
and your family
community?
are going to build an intentional community, possibly that type of thing. And we'll have to,
I'm waiting
because
for it.
our supply lines are getting cut up left and right. And the old way of living is going away, regardless of how we feel about it.
Tom and Ra.
And we're not going to maintain the same level of like happy, healthy lifestyle alone that we've had, because it's always been dependent on other people. And it's like, well, if the old supply chains that were bringing us poison are being cut off, that's good. And now we need to make our own new means and methods of exchange. And in getting healthier and whole in our body, we will definitely, in the external world, it automatically draw to us the people that are doing the same thing. And then that's the guild. And get with them. Trust that the people that are being brought into your life as we approach this portal of the vernal equinox are the right people. And don't be afraid to connect with them off of the screens, because we got to eventually.
Preach on, brother man. Preach on.
Yeah, that's it. Preaching.
The good stuff. I found that community is usual. Well, I've had community. I've had a lot of community in my life, and I've been the head of community in my life. And I found that community will only work in the future if people are working on healing themselves, because their childhood drama will destroy any community. You can get together for a few days at like a pagan festival or Burning Man or something, and you can feel like you're in utopia, but really drag that on for a month and you're going to hate everyone there. So we're going to have to work on our personalities and our childhood and clearing up recovery, basically emotional and spiritual recovery, before we can act right in groups.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, otherwise we're just going to draw the same divided energy that we're holding internally to us through the other people, and it's going to be more division.
And we pass our crap onto our children. But if we heal it, then we don't pass our crap onto our children.
That's right. This is generational healing.
Yes. And whole community healing is something I'm totally into. I would love to live in a remote spot with a great garden and some awesome people who are into healing themselves. But that's, I think, the dream of most Buddhists.
Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Wow, that's deep, Chance.
So we've been fighting a war on the airwaves, but it's time to actually start gardening for sure.
I
What
can't
do you
wait.
think? Mic drop on that?
Are you feeling like it's time to go?
Yeah, I want to eat dinner.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Well, this was lovely. And I want to thank everyone in the chats and thank Chance for kicking my butt and helping me, because he's given me some wings to fly. So thank you, Chance.
Yeah, now that you've broke the seal, you'll be live streaming left and right.
I'm a little afraid, like at midnight, middle of the night. Oh, well, I think maybe I'll live stream.
You never know who'll pop in at that time.
I know, it's crazy. It's the open window on the world. It's really weird.
And next, we need everyone to out there and tell you to get on Telegram and join us there where the party at.
So, Chance, where can we find you?
Oh, great question. Innerversepodcast.com. I'll put links in the ROKFIN chats. I mean, probably a lot of us listening know that already, but just in case you didn't, all my stuff is here. And I'm posting this on my own ROKFIN chat. Of course, people know that, but it's fun that we simulcast it to both of our channels. I'm doing Vibrants on Wednesday night. Those are super fun live shows, kind of like this, with maybe even more audience participation, call-ins, all that. Got my own main show, Innerverse, that's weekly, and there's going to be a bonus one tomorrow that's going to be deep, very scorpionic. The the wordplay title I came up with for that is the Placenta Clips Apocalypse. Placenta Clips Eclipse apocalypse, lifting of the veil. We're going in on that. It's going to be big. Corinne went away, but I'm sure she's still here. She just made me
I was
big.
just giving you the floor.
Yeah. They can connect with me too through my email address, which I'll throw that into the chat too, which is where I want people to, or DM me on Telegram if they want to get in touch for one-on-one divination session, which kind of is like, it's kind of like counseling, but instead of you telling me what it is you want advice about, I just do the Key of Destiny spread and I tell you the advice you were looking for without even knowing the context. And
How many cards is that spread?
It's 8 cards, but then I throw in a 9th one, which is an oracle card from Archangel Michael.
Excellent.
Which I like to do. It gives a little more meditation context for people to think about or pray on. More prayer than meditation. So it's 9 altogether, but the Key of Destiny is 8 card spread. Really like that one. Unlock something repressed in your life, a superpower that you've been holding back from yourself.
That sounds sweet.
And then sound healing sessions. That's my other real main offering. And they work remotely. It proves that space or distance is separation is illusion, and that we're all connected through whatever you want to call it, God or the ether. It's all one mind that we're in, mentalism. And if we get spirit guides and higher self involved, it doesn't matter if you're in another country and I'm over here. When we do the sound healing session, what needs to shift and what needs to be brought to light to consciousness will be, and it always works that way. It's super amazing.
Very true.
Shout out to Lighthouse and Nyakus on the chat on my ROKFIN. Lighthouse says, been enjoying Interverse podcast the week. Glad I found you. We're glad you found the live here. Super fun. And thanks for having me on, Corinne.
Oh, anytime, Chance. I had a great, we just have such chemistry, alchemy, chemistry. And
You've always been one of the most supportive people in the internet friends for me. You're OG, been doing this for a long time, and to have your seal of approval meant a lot early on when I was still trying to connect to an audience and a tribe in this. And now that process is initiated, I'm all the more appreciative of you for nudging me. And sometimes you were really on the nose. Like when you met the Weaving Spiders crew, months before I ever connected with them, you told me, you're like, you need to work with them. And now I go on every week.
That's crazy. I love it. I love getting
homeboys.
people together. It's one of my favorite. It's my Libra moon happy spot.
Bridging. Exactly. We do that.
Thank you, Chance. And you know what? You taught me how to drive my spaceship here on StreamYard and ROKFIN. So you paid it forward. And I thank you for that.
I'm sure there'll be more heady trades as we go, heady swaps.
Awesome. And for those who are going to stay for a little while, I'm going to play a little video for you to let us roll out of here. We're going to get into some good vibes before we say goodbye.
Groove it. Full moon dance party.
Okay. I'm just going to add it to the stream. Okay. Say good night, Chance.
Mwah, much love, everybody.
Here we go.
Stars fill my dream. I am a traveler of both time and space, to be where I have been. Sit with elders of a gentle race, this world seldom seen. Top of days for which they sit and wait, all will be revealed. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think I still was a madman, I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. A gathering of angels appeared above my head. They sang to me this song of hope, and this is what they said. They said, come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me, lads. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Of silence, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never shared. No one dared disturb the sound of silence. To keep in silence, I resigned. My friends would think I was a nut, turning water into wine. Open doors will soon be shut. Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see. Those who wish to be must put aside the alienation. Get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying need. There is no political solution to our troubled evolution. I've no faith in Constitution. There is no bloody revolution. We are spirits in the material world. Our spirits in the material world. Our spirits in the material world. Our spirits in the material world. One love, one blood, one life. You got to do what you should. One life with each other, sisters, brothers. One life, but we're not the same. We got to carry each other, carry each other. Oh. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Lunatic rich, I know you're out there. You're in headache, and your heart, you're beating. I can hear you coming. Know what you're after. Well, wise to you this time. We won't let you kill the laughter.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah.
Some call me the gangster of love.
Some people call me Maurice.
Cause I speak of the pompatus of love. People talk about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Well, don't you worry, baby, don't worry. Cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here at home. Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run. Ooh. Ooh.
Have a lovely night, you all. Mwah. Blessings and namaste. Occult Priestess out.